much quicker than Pedro Petit, and the reason why you can see David Erigon driving on the wet, it's because he's saving his tires, and driving on the wet keep the pressure down, and it makes you save your tires, and they last longer.
Indeed, so he used the boost, as you say, worth another 50 horsepower. They can use it up to 8 times during the race. He used it pretty effectively by the looks of things there. Al Ain running competitively with Esteban Guerrieri in 8th position at the moment, splashing through the puddles, and it's those puddles that might take a little while to dry out.
Yes, this is more than a puddle. Basically, it's a river that is crossing the track. As we can see, the track is going up and down, and you've got rivers coming past. So it's very, very tricky track to drive in those conditions.
This track was built on former swampland. Apparently this area was all swamp before the track was built. The track was actually opened back in 1965, had its first Formula 1 Grand Prix in 1973. But it does mean that when it rains hard like this, you do, as you say, get these rivers in several places. And that may well decide when they decide to come into the pits and change onto slicks. Remember, the pit window actually opens after 8 laps, and the leader will come around to complete 8 laps as he comes past us this time. Bernoldi's made it back to the pits, and his friend and colleague Antonio Pizzonia is having a much better time of it. Flamengo and Galatasaray under investigation, no surprise there, and it may well be that Bernoldi gets some sort of penalty, although really he was just caught out by the conditions and he did maybe misjudge it. Hard to know exactly what happened. There Liverpool and Adrian Vallis, and in fact Tottenham, yes, has got ahead of AS Roma now.
Yes, as you can see, they're all, we're going to see the maneuver. He's behind in the toe, going towards the hairpin, so there's going to be a braking area coming soon. There you go, he's on the inside, very wet puddle, but still managed to stop the car very well and clip the apex. Yeah,
that was very well done. We've seen him in the past on an overtaking charge. Look at Michelin also putting Sporting Lisbon under some pressure here, with Basel behind them. Now that's interesting. So Olympiacos has got ahead of these guys, and Sporting Lisbon desperately trying to protect his position from Casper Anderson. The pit window is open, but I doubt if we'll see anybody into the pits just yet. They want this track to dry up a little bit more before they come into the pits. They've got until lap 20 in which to make their pit stop. Pedro Petit here definitely holding these guys up a little bit.
Yes, he's holding them up. As you can see, Michelin is right in his gearbox, but also Basel is just behind, and they're all catching back, which means they're getting closer and closer. As you can see, the lap time, Olympiacos is lapping in 32, Michelin as well.
Oh, Pedro Petit slid a bit wide under braking. I thought there might be a chance of Michelin. Couldn't quite capitalise though.
No, but as you said, he was lapping pretty slowly. He's 3 or 4 seconds off, so he's really holding them up, and Basel trying to find his way in as well.
Yeah, Max Wissel for FC Basel there. He's just set the quickest lap last time around, so he's flying at the moment. Really good performance this from, once again, the youngest driver in the field, and now he's got a chance, and he's on the boost. He's on the boost, he's going for it. Both of them actually catching up on the Sporting Lisbon car. Gets down the inside. Max Wissel gains a place for FC Basel, and he's going to gain another one. Yep, gets past the Portuguese car. Oh, Sporting Lisbon coming back on the inside. Alain joining in as well. This is great racing.
Yes, Esteban Guerrieri managing to overtake as well, which means Michelin has lost 2 places in 2 corners. That's amazing, and Pedro Petit is still there blocking them. Fortunately for Basel.
Oh, and he's off in the puddle. He's off into the barrier, slams into the tyre wall. Oh, cars trying to avoid him desperately. What an amazing piece of avoidance by Pantano in particular. But how did they not hit him? He's stranded in the middle of the track. Tyre barrier thrown across the road. He hit that river that you were talking about, and it just swapped ends on him.
I really hope they bring the safety car out quickly before the leaders.
It is out. So hopefully there won't be any other cars around in that area. Pedro Petit clambers out of the car, the 22-year-old Portuguese driver. Let's watch this once again, Bruce.
Up over the puddle, over the river, and he hits the barrier. Yeah, he was on the throttle. He was under pressure, basically, so he was pushing hard, and it was very, very narrow, very tight for the others to avoid him, but they did a good job.
Yes. I'm amazed they managed. Let's watch this again from the outside. Watch the puddle. Yeah, he clips the puddle. Now, where do they all go? Because he slams across, comes right down in front of them.
And managed to hit the brakes and go into the inside.
Because Pantano, he looked like he was going to go to the outside initially, and then somehow he managed to get the car back to the inside.
Back in, yes.
So they're being allowed to pass the safety car so they can pick up the leader in the pits. Oh, this is interesting.
Yes, they stopped under the safety car to try to save a lap, which is a good thing. Yeah. But the cars who just overtook the safety car that we saw on the main straight are gonna go directly towards this area, and I hope they're gonna see the yellow flag and manage to avoid the car. Now Pizzonia is on slicks, so it's going to be very, very tricky for him to stay on the track. Yeah, they managed. The good thing about stopping under the safety car is that you save a lot of time, because the lap time under the safety car is a lot slower. So he's going to gain a lap, basically. But the hard thing is that he's now running on slicks and the track is not completely dry.
Absolutely. Now that's really clever strategy from Corinthians, and they will hope that that works to good effect for them, as you say, by giving him a very quick call to come into the pits under safety car, and they are allowed to do that. So, and in fact, the safety car didn't pick him up, so he's going to be able to do a whole nother lap. So the safety car is going to be waving people past him for ages before he picks up the what was the race leader. Of course, we'll have a new race leader, this car, because he's not been into the pits. Atletico Madrid, is he going to come into the pits as well? It's going to get ever so confusing, because all the leaders are going to come into the pits for their tyre change.
Yes, now Atletico Madrid is doing the tyre change as well. He should rejoin.
Interestingly, Olympiacos has stayed out there, so Olympiacos, I think, may well become our new race leader. Davide Rigon crossing the line. AC Milan also stopping to come into the pits, and a lot of this depends on how long it takes to clear up the incident, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly, but the car is still there, so it's a good move for them, but I'm not so sure where is Hopinton going to rejoin once he's finished his pit stop, depending on the other strategy, basically.
Yeah, whether he will be out in front of Corinthians, for example, I doubt it, because I think Corinthians didn't get picked up by the safety car. Corinthians just crossed the line.
So basically, technically, Hopinton and Atletico Madrid just lost a lap.
Right.
If Pizzonia finishes his lap behind the safety car, or if the safety car passes in front of the pits, it's a little bit confusing. We'll have to wait and see 1 or 2 laps to see who is where.
So pit stops are being made. They're going on to slick tyres, but of course, even by the safety car, it could be a bit challenging on slick tyres. Probably should be all right, but once the safety car releases them, then we'll see, was this the right time to come in, or are those guys who've stayed out there a bit longer? Interesting, Liverpool points leaders into the pits for their slick tyres. AS Roma, likewise for Jonathan Kennard, and he gets it away cleanly. He's got a nice clean run out of the pit lane, because he's right at the end of the pit lane there. Slight advantage, he doesn't have to come out at an angle. And you can see the pit lane exit's pretty slippery. There's the pickup job on the Sporting Lisbon machine.
But Ben, imagine going through those puddles and this river, particularly this river, with slick tyres. It's going to be a nightmare for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's going to be really, really difficult. Well, the pace car has picked up the cars now, and he's picked up Olympiacos, which is right, because Olympiacos has not been into the pits, so Olympiacos is the race leader, no doubt about it. But Corinthians, it'll be interesting to see where they are in that queue, having made their pit stop, and effectively they'll be right with the lead group. There we are, there's Corinthians in the middle of the pack, and that's all they've lost now after doing pit stop, and Atletico de Madrid right behind them. So absolutely fascinating. This really should work out, but they've got to get those slick tyres working.
Yes, it should work out, basically, because they save so much time. I mean, those guys still have to pit, so they're going to end up behind them, and quite far behind them. So it was a very good strategy for them to stop now. Now it's going to be hard to handle the car on those track conditions.
Into the pits comes Olympiacos. He is from the race lead. He's decided also to come in, and there's very few who've now decided to stay out there. Just about all the teams are coming in. Lyon, I think, have stayed out, and Basel as well has not yet come into the pits, but the other clubs have all come into the pits for the change onto slick tyres. Now he's got a scrubbed set of tyres rather than a brand new set. Some teams have still got a brand new set of slicks that they can put on the cars. There's Al Ain. Their tyre change going hopefully according to plan. It'll drop them to the back of the Crocodile, of course. And so we're going to see a lot of changes in position after all these pit stops have been made. FC Porto in. The wets come off. The slick tyres go on. And they're looking for plenty of grip once this race gets underway again. But the safety car is coming in this lap, we're told. Safety car will be coming in at the end of this next lap. Now this is really going to be exciting now. All these guys on slick tyres on a track which is still quite damp in places.
Yes, it's going to be very hard. You see how they struggle just to come out of the pits. Safety car is still there just in front of us in the first chicane, but after the next 5 corners, he's going to come back in.
So leading the race is Lyon now. Tottenham looking in quite good shape, actually, ahead of Corinth. Has Tottenham been in? Ah, no, Tottenham's not been in. That's why I wondered what he was doing there. So that's very interesting. The winner of the first race of the day, there he is, Spurs. Craig Dolby has not been into the pits yet, so he's well up in the queue here, but he's still on his wet tyres.